Our next speaker this afternoon, as has been put in the sheet out on the tables, has been, for a lot of his life, the unwilling recipient of visions which he wishes he didn't have, because he's been told things in his visions that are not pleasant in many, many cases. He will tell you about those. But for some reason or other, Jessie Garcia has been gifted with these visions since childhood. It has caused him a lot of personal problems. Of course, he's not the first speaker today or yesterday or throughout this conference that has problems because of the things he's known or been shown. He has been quoted in the Leading Edge newspaper and other places, which is on display here, and they have a table here at this conference, and other places, as to some of his predictions, many, many of which have been correct. He has drawn maps of earth changes before he ever heard of a person named Gordon Scallion, or before he ever heard of Lori Wilkins Toy, both of whom have spoken, of course, at Global Sciences in years past. And it is kind of amazing, uncanny, as to how similar those maps are that he was shown, among other things. But today he's here to talk to you about other things that have happened in his life, other things that have been shown to him of what might happen in the future. He was not listed on the program, as you will notice if you read it. He was listed as a mystery speaker. A lot of this is because his wife is very concerned about his personal well-being and safety, and maybe a little of it his. And of course we tried to protect that as well. He will tell you the rest of his story from here. Welcome again after 3 or 4 years with us, 3 or 4 years ago with us, welcome Jessie Garcia of Tucson, Arizona.
Dean, this is mine. This is mine.
It's here. It's underneath.
No, this is mine.
Oh, that's your book. Okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay. My name is Jessie Garcia. Can you hear me in the back? Not very well. How now? Can you hear me now? Let me raise that t-shirt up. It took a lot of courage to come up here and to take a risk. I know I've been suffering for the past year and a half in pains and what they would call radionics. I heard it's radionics. You've been punished for what things you receive and what you know about the future and what could possibly happen and what you could alter. I've been on radio shows. I've been on the Art Bell Show. I've been on Tucson Talks and Arizona AZ. And there it was a lot easier because there was no people. Just the spokesperson and telling me something, and 3 cameras. A lot of lights, but it was nice, it was easy, it was comfortable, and we took our time talking about events and things that would happen in our future. I came to your planet long ago. I was reaggressed. I wish I'd never done that because it was great concern for my wife. She said I thought I married Jessie, but after hearing what you've gone through in your past life, I don't know you anymore. I give her great respect, and I love her dearly. Like a husband should love his wife and respect her. But she'd grown concerned about my situation, and it took about a year and a half when I started getting into predictions that were very, very dangerous. Maybe a threat to national security, but it was nothing. I couldn't go any further because I couldn't receive any more. It was quite distorted when it came to that very important parts. I didn't know why I couldn't receive that well, what was going on, why I couldn't see better to foretell the future the way it's supposed to have been, the way it was given to me. I became a researcher, or a UFO researcher. I had to research everything that I've gotten, all my material. That goes way back since I was a child, at 5 years old. That was all covered up. But under reaggression, when I was reaggressed, it came where these lovely tall beings came to me at that age of 5 to talk to me. My dad was in Panama. My dad was military. I came from a military family. I received gifts of foretelling the future. I can do readings, not all the time, only if I know that there's a need, that this person within himself sits in front of me and tells me he needs help. It's like my soul would be in contact with his soul. And then I would help his soul with his body. I would tell him what was the problem, or what he wanted to know, or what was ailing him. I got the ability, I could do exorcisms. I can go in the house. I can get rid of it. A lady a while back, about 8 months ago, she nearly lost her ranch house, home, and 14 horses. She was asking me if I could help her. I would have to go into the house. I would have to go around. I would locate 2 places where I would see an entity or entities. I would spot out certain areas to her, and I would tell her that I would need to stay here. This lady said, sure. I says, I need to stay here 2 nights. Is it all right with your husband? She said, my husband's in the reserves. He's not here. He comes back in 2 weeks. So I said, ma'am, don't worry about it. I respect you. I respect your space. I'm here to do a job. So I got out the 2 entities, and everything was fine. She wanted to pay me, to offer me something. I didn't want to take it. I didn't come into this world to be put on a pedestal, or for money, or for lust, or for fame or fortune. my material prophecies, I gave them away, a lot of them. I didn't sell them. A lot of it was stolen. A lot of it was plagiarized. People that plagiarized my material. It angered my wife. A gift that you receive, that you suffered over, and you're giving it away. I don't have the money or the time to sit down and to make a book. Because I work like you work. I have to work. I got bills like you have bills. I don't have the time. I'm not interested in the book. If there's people out there like the leading edge newspaper to publish something, that's fine. It's at no cost to no one. I've done this to the Sedona Journal Emergence in Sedona. They published my material as well. My concern is for mankind, the animals, the birds, life on earth and in the ocean, and Mother Earth. It said the doors of many are open for you and for others for a very short time to go through that door before they close. Those who have grown into another level, it's their escape. I have to understand that. It was hard for me. I did more research. I went around to the petroglyphs of the American Indians, close to the reservation there in Tucson. And I did a lot of study, and I did a lot of research, and I wrote a lot of material down about the American Indian and how their time was limited, their food was limited. Mother Earth was changing, like it is changing today. It's coming around again. What they predicted, it wasn't pretty things about their hunting and all sorts. What I'm trying to say is that what was on the petroglyphs, the writings, were also there for us because they lasted for thousands of years. It's a warning for mankind that what happened to him, and he was also in contact with UFOs, just like you are today, those. And those who aren't, I'm glad. I'm going to go into the age of 5 years old when these beings came to me. They were from a military sort. They knew all about our planet. They knew all about our government. They knew all about every and each one of us. They knew all about our problems, and they know all about our sufferings. They came to me with prophecies. They even from that, they even show me the date and time of my mother's death and my dad's death. My mother's coffin box was baby blue, and my dad's box was gray. All this was shown to me at a very young, early age, a child. The next 4 years is going to be very, very hard. A lot of changes are coming very, very fast. Weather changes like you see. You heard this many times. I won't have to repeat this. I've seen the future. I've seen crisis. I've seen hunger. I've seen sickness, disease, and death. Red blood throughout the planet. At a very small age, I've seen Korea, Cuba. I'm going to name all this off first, and then I'm going to go back. Korea, Cuba, Vietnam, Kennedy, King, Woodstock, drugs, the Virgin Mary, Russia in wars, the Berlin Wall that came down, job crisis that manifested, and then they were gone. Jobless people around the world, in Russia, after the wall came down, the Pope. I received all this, but I was too little to understand what it meant and why I was receiving this. I always asked questions to my mom and dad when they were alive. Why me? Why am I seeing bad things? Why not good things? There was no answer from them. My dad had a job in the military, and then he worked with the Pentagon somewhere along the line. He had many friends higher up, generals, colonels, majors, officers. He was very good at that. He was a courier for the Pentagon. He was away a lot. He never discussed his job or where his bouts. He carried a briefcase, handcuffed, and with 2 MPs back in the very early 50s. They traveled by train. That was for a short time only. That's all I knew about my dad. He was never home, and when he was home, he drank a lot. He hid a lot. And his frustrations, I would see him outside or anywhere, just crying. But now I know why. I seen hunger in Africa. The children, the people, the poor. The earthquake in '89 in California. We were there for, like I said before, for a very short time. We left California. We went back to Yuma for a short while. I received the maps of the world in pages that would turn like this. They would just kept turning, 4 by 4, 4 feet by 4. And it kept turning like this, like I was turning it with my mind. Someone is doing it. I know someone is talking to me. Don't forget this. Take a good look. Because you need to write all these things down and draw these things out. All these areas that are pointed out, all these bullseyes, all these check marks, you would have to memorize it. It was like it was all stored in my mind, like a book, just plugged into your subconscious. And I didn't forget. When I found time, I could sit down and do automatic drawing, as well as automatic writings. I received my material telepathic and in visions. I seen Desert Storm. Remember these? I kept seeing flags, and I seen these on the car. Long before, I was talking about it to my mother before she passed away. I kept seeing a lot of little flags. When the time came and all that happened, I was going half crazy, because it was all coming true like all the others. They came and gone. But yet there was more coming. A lot more wars. Wars in detail. It's showing the battlefield. They showed Bosnia. It was showing me United States troops in Bosnia. When they first started this uprising and killing people, killing each other, you didn't see soldiers. But I kept telling the people, there will be soldiers. There will be United States troops going in there. I kept seeing the flag on the side of the soldier's uniform, on the camouflage, just like in Desert Storm. I kept telling my sisters, it looks like a Rommel's War, like in World War II, like the Desert Rats. Sort of that type, because I could see the way that tanks were made. They were different. They were faster. They had more killing power. I said the soldiers were dressed different. They had the Hitler helmet. That was long before they had the regular issue helmet. We grew up well-behaved, well-mannered. We didn't talk back. We didn't smoke. We didn't drink. We didn't cuss. As soon as they looked at us, we doing something, you know you had it. They didn't have to yell. They didn't put us in timeout. But I was abused by my dad. I was beaten. Now you can't do that. But the house had its own laws. Nobody from outside could bother. There was no outside laws like now. I seen space wars. Long before I could even imagine what our government was getting into. I couldn't understand this. This was just like a what is it, Butt Rogers, you know, like that. I could see that, you know, going from planet to planet. But yet, like laser shots going back and forth like you see then, you know. It was like, it was harmless, but yet a lot of stuff, like here on Earth, the wars that took place were very, very real to me when they were showing me. This group was showing me all the different events that were going to take place on this planet. All around the world. Crisis, everything. The blacks fighting with the whites. Blacks fighting with blacks. Looting going on, fires like have happened. But I didn't write this down in no book. I just kept it here in my head. But yet the visions were still distorted. I couldn't understand why. I couldn't see anymore. When people ask me, what else do you see? Can you control it? No, I can't control it. No. Remote viewing, I can't control it either. As soon as I get my nerves or something's going on that I know I'm away from my body, I would just go right straight back into my body. I can't control it. No one showed me how to do this. I remember working with crystals, putting lights onto the crystal, harnessing the crystals. Crystal pyramids, like a clear ball of plastic. You could unplug it. And then you put a crystal here and a crystal on this side, facing this way, like that. And then over here, another crystal, a bigger one, right down the bottom of pyramids. 3 pyramids. And then over here, a wire, copper wire, going straight down into a round crystal where you could tie it. Then I would close this up. And then I would put a ring around this way and a ring around the other way. And then I would make a stand. And then I put another crystal pyramid on the outside. That one was lead crystal. And then I would put a flashlight to it into a dark room. When I did that, it looked like you're looking at a hologram. You could turn the light this way, and you could turn it that way. You could turn it up or down, but you have to have it posted on one of the pyramids, the bottom one. And you would get lovely colors coming in. But I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that I was messing with something. And it became like getting yourself ready to explore a new frontier by using the crystal and holograms and colors coming all together. When I pulled it down one night, I pulled one down like this all the way, and then you could see on the wall the 2 crystal pyramids like this, and the one down with 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, like this star right here, right on the tips of them. And then I shut it off. My wife came into the room and wanted to know what the heck I was doing. That doesn't look good. I says, I need to raise my level of consciousness so that when I could do remote viewing, I wouldn't be startled. It's only like a practice session for the real thing. But the real thing, I didn't know what I was talking about, the real thing. It's almost like it was already there. You just do what we say, and everything will be all right. I was always guided, always, telepathically, telling me what to do, where to go. I was taking my valise to work and putting it in my locker and locking it. Between lunchtime or before going to work, I would have my studies out. When I would go across the street to where I work, I stopped and I kept thinking, you know what you're doing? You know what you're looking like? You're just like in your dad's footsteps. When he carried the valise, you're carrying one too. You're carrying information like he carried information. But yet all my information that I received, this is not nothing. This is nothing compared to all the others I have. And still they didn't make sense. It was just, this is all the material I have is just only one part of a puzzle. That you may have another part. And you might have another part. If we would come together, maybe we could figure this thing out, what mine mean and what yours, what you couldn't understand. We could put it all together and solve the puzzle. I was trading information off, back and forth. I won't name any group or anything. Even of our government. It's almost like my wife says, "What are you doing?" I says, "Well, the common people, forgive me and bless you. Those," I says, "I could talk, but yet they wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But these guys here, they know what I'm talking about. They've been there, they've seen it, they know exactly what I'm talking about. If you show them something, they had more information that, God, I don't have." And why I didn't have it all, I didn't quite understand still at all. Why I didn't have all my information together. And like I said, I only had part of the puzzle, I thought. I seen Jupiter. I said this before, many times before, long before you or others, even when it was, before it was discovered. I was already talking about it. I seen it. Like I explained before, I seen a dark cloud in the sky, and out of this black cloud came a black horse with black wings, with horns on it. And it's going towards this planet, almost like, I would say maybe Saturn, but I wasn't quite sure. I said, no, the rings are not really rings, but it's a big planet. And this planet is rocking back and forth like a bell. And this horse is coming closer and closer to this planet. That's how I received it, in symbols. They will not show me what they saw now, a comet or an asteroid. It wasn't shown to me that way. I kept saying there's two parts to a vision or to an image. A vision or image, I don't know. Like there's two sides to a story. There was two sides to that. The one I just explained to you. The other, when it blew my mind, when David Levi and Shoemaker discovered it. And I've talked about this before in a doctor's home. And there was a UFO researcher. Wendell Stevens was there. Robert Dean couldn't make it, but Wendell was there. And he sat through a few hours. There was 40 people in the room, in this house, and we were talking about this that I saw. Long before it was discovered. It's documented, it's on tape. I got that tape. But I didn't know any more about that all I saw is what I just told you. That is it. But I called him up when I found out there was more to that. I said, you remember that black horse? Do you remember the symbol I told you? And now it's just what they're seeing now. It was okay. All right, there ain't nothing you can do about it. You know, you saw it, and there ain't nothing you can't do anything with it, you know. I did have a chance to talk to David Levi. He was at one of those stores at the Tucson Mall. And he was selling the telescopes, the t-shirts, saying, don't miss the crash of '94. And I says, I can't believe it that I have a chance to talk to this man, one of the ones that discovered this. But there's vital information that he needs to know. And if I can have a chance to talk to him. So I did. I asked him if I could sit down for a little while and talk to him for a good 10 minutes or so about things that I know that I received that has to do with Jupiter. He said, if you buy my book, then we will sit down and we will maybe talk. So I bought the book like a little kid, and I went up to him. He signed it, and he wrote my name down and his name down on it. I said, now can we sit down and talk like a little kid? And he says, I don't have your time. He says, I got many things to do here, and I'm selling my book, and I'm selling other things as well. It was very disappointing to me because at least I had the privilege to talk to him, but still, he didn't care what I had to say or anything. But I noticed that he turned around like this, and he walked off and left me there like that. And he turned around and looked at me. And he was white, real white, like he turned white. And he turned away like this, and he kept walking away like that. Like he was in dismay. Something was not right, or he knew something. I was going to explain to him the other part of the vision that I saw of Jupiter. It was a war on Jupiter, I kept saying to my wife. This man didn't want to hear what I had to say. I said, I've seen it. I went out of my body. I went to this location where I sat on a rock. I could see everything going on. Like I could be right here. Here's Jupiter, here's planet Earth. Like you're sent out in time or into the future, or remote viewing they call it, and you're reporting back here what you're seeing right here, out in the frontier. To me, it's just like a scout discovering a new frontier. He sent 5 or 10 miles, maybe 20 miles away, and then to come back and see if it's safe or not. That's what I was doing. Like I said, I kept seeing bar lights around this planet. Big bar lights. Aiming down this way, and another one taking straight off, up that way. And then all of a sudden, here comes another bar light. And then it shoots a laser beam right down at a location. And then another bigger bar light. And then a triangle bar lights of different shapes and sizes going in and out. And the others were coming out of this planet that had an inner world. I would call it an inner world because there were lights inside where this thing was coming out, shooting out. And when it came out, the other shot at it, blew it up, like your silos. I didn't know what was that or who was it. All I know that to me that it was distorted as well, and it had to be a war going on somewhere in another civilization from somebody or something. And I could sit on that rock and I was yelling out loud, if anybody can hear me, they would be up, the light would cross right in front of me, real up close, but it wouldn't hurt me at all. The winds were between 300 and 400 miles an hour winds, dust storms. It would be cold and then it'd be real hot. And then I could look up into the atmosphere and I could see, like, all of a sudden the changes in that whole atmosphere that was going under. And the loud and the screaming and the wind blowing, but yet it's not hurting me, but I can hear all that going on in my head, but not my body. But yet, it's this thing this inside was sitting on a rock, recording and listening of everything, the winds of that planet. It looked like oceans. Where that eye is, that big hurricane eye, the way I seen it, it looked like a hole. Like they said that we have an inner earth, there's a hole on top and the bottom, but this hole was leaning off to this side. I couldn't see the other side. Over here was the battle going on, not over there, out here on this side. It was showing graphics to me. I'll show you one. You can see later, I'll pass it around. It was showing a graphic done like this. I couldn't understand what it was. So I sent it off to the ones that they could listen and understand. Maybe they knew better than I did about that. I didn't know. I didn't know what it was or anything. I received that for about 3 mornings before they call it that crash. It looks like a crop circle on top. In the middle, it looks like an incoming. And then it looks like something coming straight across that planet, going out into the solar system, like it passed it. It's showing check marks, points, it's showing areas, but I couldn't still understand what that was. You could see like a vibration here, and then it's showing vibrations going out. Then you see a line shooting straight across like that. Like I said, on top it was a crop circle, was round like this, going across like that. And then there was like a half moon on this side, and then 2 slits down this way. And then on the bottom part, it was showing a round ball with one arrow going this way and an arrow going that way, like this. I couldn't figure that out either. I have that map. The other one was the Ron Brown incident. That one, the way I received it, first it was showing a coffin box. And I have it written down here. But like I said, this is all I could receive. It didn't tell me anything about, if he owed bills or if he was doing something to someone. It didn't tell me that. It was very distorted as well. It was showing me about, what it was showing me, it was a box. It was a brown box. It was a shiny box. 4/1 of 96. The time was 5:22 a.m. Here in a vision, I can see a coffin box. I don't like it. This coffin was made the color light brown. A shiny brown of wood. And the handles are of brass. I wrote it down exactly like that. Someone here saying of the coffin, this is a new one, but it is a scratch and dent. Yes, its cost is reduced. I don't like it, I kept saying. I don't like it. I don't like this. Something is going to arrive. I wrote down. No, I don't like this at all. No coffin. This is dangerous. But I don't want this. I kept saying, I don't want this. I kept thinking, it's for me, I don't want it. I see my mother's and I see my dad's. I don't want to see mine. I kept saying, is this mine? How long have I got to live? What have I done wrong? And I wrote down here, I know God will always be with me and everywhere I go. I am here for Him, and when the job is done, I will go to Him. Yes, I'm aware of these things to come, just like Jesus knew of these things too. That was on April 1st of 96. April 2nd of 96, the second early morning, it was 5:07 a.m. in the morning when I got up to write this down. Pardon me. This vision, I received it twice. After the first time, after I went back to bed, didn't pay any much attention, it came to me again, the same vision. A crash of a government U.S. plane. That's the way I titled it. It's a vision. The area is cold, wet here. Rainy, cloudy area. I can see many clouds here. Everything looks cold, wet, and grayish. All of the sudden, up in the clouds, I seen a light blast, explosion into fire. Out of the cloud, I see a large plane broken, and it falls into many pieces. The plane looks like, in a sense, it's a government airline. At first, I thought it looked like a United States president's plane, but no. It is, in a sense, a government airline. Just came down in a rainy area. I looked around in the vision to look for help, but there was no one to talk to. The way it looks was made to happen to all here. At 6:02, almost an hour later, I seen the same vision twice, the same way. I was feeling out of breath, here, scared, and helpless. I talked to my wife, Olivia. I told her of the vision I've seen there. This is where it starts to get dangerous. Dangerous writing, dangerous predictions. Many other planes have fallen from the sky. I won't want to go into that. I'm doing this for my own safety. I seen Kobe's body done in a different way. He was also killed. I seen how the way it was done. There was many other things that were prophesied to me. It showed another one. It was talking about the mopping up of the government and attempt assassinations on one person of a colored group. And then I was showing the picture, and I could identify the man as Louis Farrakhan. I passed that information on. If I could do something, but I knew I would be in deep trouble. Because there's a lot of racist people, a lot of prejudiced people. But I don't see that about you. I don't see that about anyone. I see you as my brothers and sisters, and if my brother or my sister's in danger, I will tell them or her something has to be altered, has to be changed. When I got connections with him, or to the person to send that message, I said, I wish the man would quit hating himself. That is all I have to say. That's what I was saying. They took that message and it was given to him. At 5 years old, I would tell you real quick, 7, 8, 9, and 10, in that way, I was taken to a place where there was doctors and scientists looking like that. I was reaggressed in November, and I was told about what I was doing. I was laid on a table. I kept telling this old medical doctor that was in the military, he's 75 years old, he said, I could help you, but you're going to be very disappointed when you find out what's wrong with you. When I was reaggressed, I was telling him everything that was happening, all about the prophecies that I was getting. It was already written out when I was 5 years old for all the coming events in the future. That they erased and changed some of them to help themselves or to protect themselves, so that I wouldn't come up with the name or the faces. If they were colored, that's fine. But if they were white or if they were of ours, we will erase that face. He can't see it. It went on down the line. They wanted to know what year was going to take place, all down to the wars, all about Kennedy, who did it. That was left in there. They just said CIA, that's all. But I know that there was more to it, like all the other visions, that I couldn't receive as well. Even earthquakes, when they threw that in there and they were telling me that that was disinformation. After I gave it out to the leading edge newspaper, I felt very sorry. I was saddened. I went to deep depression because I couldn't trust my prophecies anymore. And why do they have to do this when I was out there to help mankind? It's like the good forces were fighting the evil forces and using me as an instrument in the middle. Then people started discrediting me. And then when I got in trouble, I lost all my friends. They wouldn't call me up. Only a few did, but all the others, they've forgotten me. You're on your own. It is dangerous. Prophecies can become very dangerous. It had changed my life. When I saw the lady at 21, when they showed me the lady, to make me grow spiritual, to have confidence, to have courage, to have the love that I needed to grow. I never forget it. It's sealed in my heart. And Christ watching my back. I want to go home. I want to lay down and I want to go to sleep. I didn't come here to harm anyone or to point any fingers at anybody. I don't do that. I want to be respected like I respect you. Thank you, Dean, for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.